Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Artsy Dude channel and my art studio somewhere here in the great United States of America. It's a place where creativity is more important than knowledge, but the acquisition of great knowledge, it's an art form. And the two go hand in hand. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the alien agenda again, maybe a compendium to one of my earlier videos. So I'll ramble on here a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Marshall Vian Summers and the author who penned Allies of Humanity series and his whole automatic writing download that he got from some angelic beings, as he calls them. Now, no matter whether you buy into his download from angelic beings or not, if you read his Allies of Humanity books 1, 2, and 3 and some of his other subsequent literature, it's very well written, super logical, and I mean it makes total sense as if it was written to be presented to the United Nations. And in fact, I think it was presented to the United Nations and the Vatican as well. But what I'll do today is I'll give you a 10-point summary sort of what the Allies of Humanity books are all about. So anyways, let's get to it. This summary sort of represents only a general overview and doesn't include many of the important points from all of his books. And I borrowed this liberally from biblioescapades.net. I believe it's biblioescapades.net. I'm not sure where that's from, but I did borrow it, and they compiled it, and so I want to give them credit. So let's go to number 1. Again, this is sort of the download that Marshall Vian Summers received from these angelic beings, these allies of humanity, if you were. So number 1, humanity's destiny is to emerge into and to engage with a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. Okay? That's number 1. We know that. We believe that's our destiny. We've always believed that, right? I mean, those of us who've been in this field for a long time and have followed it, we've always known that. Number 2, contact with other forms of intelligent life represents the greatest threshold that humanity has ever faced. The result of this contact will determine for future generations of humanity to come. This contact is happening now. It is. Number 3, humanity is unprepared for contact. Researchers are still unable to clearly see who is visiting our world and why. Governments are not revealing what they know, and most people are still in denial that this phenomenon is even occurring. Well, that's a fact. We know that, right? We definitely know that. Number 4, because of this lack of preparation, humanity's true allies sent representatives to a location near Earth to observe the extraterrestrial presence and activities within our world. The Allies of Humanity briefings represent their report. Okay, and this is the report that was given to Marshall Vian Summers through a download. And you'd have to read his books to understand the downloads themselves and how they occurred, okay? But they did. So number 4, or I should say number 5 now. The briefings reveal that our world is undergoing an extraterrestrial intervention by forces that, as demonstrated by their actions, are here to subvert human authority and to integrate into human societies for their own advantage. These forces represent non-military organizations that are here to seek human and biological resources. The Allies refer to these forces as the collectives. The collectives do not value human freedom. Now, let's talk about that just for a second. They're here to subvert human authority and to integrate into human societies for their own advantage. Okay. So here's where I disagree with some of my compatriots here on YouTube. Some of them believe that it's all about love and it's all about consciousness, and I believe that too, that it's all about love. But I think, like anything in the universe, if we take the Earth as a biological sampling of the universe in all its glory, no matter what form that we're in, if you look at all the non-sentient animal and biological life forms of Earth, there is a hierarchy. There is a kill or be killed natural order. Lions eat zebras. Alligators eat water buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Dragonflies eat smaller flies. They don't do it because it's mean or because it's, nefarious. They just do it because it's nature. They're here to survive. And I think some of these life forms could be in that biological state. In other words, they're here for their own agenda. Whether it's good or bad, maybe it's not good or bad, they just don't know any different. They're here to render their authority over our natural resources. Okay? So it's interesting. Because the intervention, this is number 6 now, because the intervention is being carried out by a small group of intervening forces, it must rely primarily upon deception and persuasion to achieve its goals. The Allies' briefings describe in detail how this is being accomplished and what we must do to stop it, okay? Number 7, this extraterrestrial intervention is being focused in 4 arenas. Okay, let's talk about the 4 arenas. It is influencing individuals in positions of power and authority to cooperate with the intervention through the promise of greater wealth, power, and technology. Okay, now we can see that already in the government. That's why the government squashes everybody, and they want, anytime there's a downed UFO, they have teams that go out. You can be arrested, you can be killed. People have been, murdered for this wealth, power, and technology because of these people in positions of power and authority. And so these certain alien species are using that. They know how greedy humans are. It is creating hidden establishments in the world from which the intervention can exert its influence in the mental environment, seeking to make people everywhere open and compliant to its will through a pacification program. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute, the mental environment. So some of these creatures are, or species are, thousands of years more advanced than us. Thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands. We've heard millions of years. They've learned to use the mind. We're just delving into this consciousness thing right now. We're talking about remote viewing, and we're getting all excited that we can remote view something and we can see, an apple across the country that somebody's holding in their hand. Well, these guys have been doing remote viewing and working in the mental environment for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years. They're experts at it. They can stand right behind us in a crowd and manipulate our minds, and we don't even know it, okay? So that's what's crazy about this. It's really crazy. They're manipulating our religious values and impulses in order to gain human allegiance to their cause. It is taking people against their will and often without their awareness to support an interbreeding program designed to create a hybrid race and a new leadership who would be bonded to the visitors, okay? We've heard that. We've heard about that too, with the reptilians, and I don't know if I buy into all the reptilian stuff, but you know what? It could be true. I'm open to anything. The older I get, the more open I am to everything. Number 8, those extraterrestrial visitors who've been potentially beneficial to humanity have all retreated from the world in the face of the intervention. Those remaining are alien races who are not here for our benefit. This leaves us with an unambiguous situation regarding the extraterrestrial presence. This enables us to clearly see what we are dealing with. Otherwise, it would be impossible for us to tell friend from foe. Okay? Number 9. The Allies' briefings emphasize the grave danger in our accepting and becoming reliant upon ET technology offered by the intervention. Okay? This will only lead to our becoming dependent on the visitors, resulting in our loss of freedom and self-sufficiency. No true ally of humanity would offer this to us. The Allies emphasize that we have Earth-based solutions to all the problems that we face. What we lack as a race is unity, will, and global cooperation. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Number 10. In spite of the great challenge we now face, humanity still has a great advantage. If we can respond in time, the Allies' briefings reveal both the intervention's strength and its weaknesses. One of the intervention's weaknesses is its reliance upon human acquiescence and cooperation to achieve its goals. Okay? I would agree with that also. According to greater community rules of conduct, within the region in which our world exists, intervention is not allowed unless it can be demonstrated that the native people welcome and approve of it. Here, our voices can have power in the greater community. At this moment, the intervention has few critics. But, as we've always said, if enough people can become aware of it and speak out against it, the intervention will be thwarted and must withdraw. This is the first step in humanity's preparation for dealing with the realities of life in the universe. This step and all the steps that follow give humanity its one great chance to overcome its long-standing conflicts and to unite in its defense of the preservation of the world. The Allies of humanity affirm that we as human beings have the spiritual and collective power to do this, and we must do this if we want to survive and advance as a free and independent race in the greater community. If humanity were well versed in greater community affairs, you would resist any visitation to your world unless a mutual agreement has been established previously. You would know enough not to allow your world to be so vulnerable. Okay? So those are the sort of 10 synopsis bullet points of Marshall Vian Summers' Allies of Humanity books. Now again, I'm trying to read them through a mask with little holes. Kind of hard to read, so forgive me for that. I would be a little bit more articulate if I had it in front of me on a piece of paper or on screen where I could see it a little bit better. But you get the point. I believe that these writings, whether they were downloaded from these angelic beings or if it's all bullshit, it's still very viable, it's logical, and it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. These beings are here, some of them. They've been interacting with our government, promising technology for the use of whether it be animals or human abductions, and our government has all of this technology, possibly a breakaway civilization, as Richard Dolan has coined the phrase, all because a certain number of people, because of their wanting of wealth and power, have walked into a deal with these aliens, with some aliens. So, like anything on our Earth, in biological terms, there's good and there's bad. I've always said the Earth is a microcosm of the universe, whereas there are good people and there are bad people, and there are everyone in between. And I think that's the case with species of aliens. Doesn't matter how advanced they are. It could be 10,000 years more advanced. They might not know anything about love. You know, they might have a lot of knowledge on consciousness, a lot of knowledge on how to acquire their resources. Think about that. As these different species evolve in their parts of the galaxy or universe, they use up their own world's resources with the advancement of their technology, and so they go out seeking the resources they need. They find worlds, whether inhabited or not, to exploit those resources. So they stumble upon Earth, this beautiful blue marble here in our part of the woods, our neck of the woods, and according to the Allies of Humanity, that we are in a very busy trading route area of the galactic arm of the Milky Way galaxy. And we see it that we're way out in the middle of nowhere, but according to the download he's gotten, we're in a busy trading area, and there are many different species here. And we've heard that. We've heard that there are many different species visiting the Earth. So there's a lot of things about this that holds true. And again, I want to believe it's all about love and consciousness. I really do. And I believe that if we stay that road, we'll be better for it. But we got to be smart about it. We can't just walk around with our head in the sand and talk about, it's always about love. We've got to be honest and understanding about what the dilemmas are out there. I mean, think about it. We're like little kids in our neighborhood who's never been out of our front door. And we're just now walking out our front door. We haven't been to the moon in 30-some years. We've never been to Mars in the sense of humanity visiting Mars, that we know of, right? That we know of. Okay. That's not to say that there's not a breakaway civilization that has colonies already there. Who knows? Maybe we've already colonized the whole solar system. But humanity's arrogance, that we think we know everything and that we think we can just walk out and we can take over this or take over that and we can colonize this or that. Well, it might not be that way. There might be some species out there that already have been there for thousands of years, and they don't take kindly to these new neighbors stepping out their front door and thinking they can walk down the street and take things over. They won't have it. There are rules out there. I believe that. So, my advice is, and again, I'm just an armchair academic, an artist, okay? But my advice is be open-minded. Look at all the facts. I think if you read these briefings, these 3 briefings, the Allies of Humanity's books 1, 2, and 3, and again, there's some subsequent material that Marshall Vian Summers has written. He's got videos on YouTube. You can watch him if you'd rather watch him and listen to him that way. But digest the material. Take a look at it. Take a look at it for what it is, in the sense that very logical, very well written, makes sense, and it doesn't buy into all this conspiratorial fringe ufology that we see, and I'll use Corey Goode again as an example with the Blue Avians and how that went. So I would put my money on Marshall Vian Summers much more than I would Corey Goode. And that's saying a lot, okay? So I'll just use that for now. And again, I wish no ill will against Corey Goode. He's a human, and he's trying to make a living, and I wish him no ill will, and I don't besmirch him here on this channel. I'm just saying he's put forth some crazy stories, and I just think if you stack his stories up against the writings of Marshall Vian Summers, there's no comparison. Anyways, you be the judge. That's all I'm saying. You be the judge. And in fact, Corey Goode, you read it, and you be the judge too, okay? In the meantime, I'm going to sign off for now because I'm rambling again. But as I always do, I always say this. Listen, be kind to your animals. Love them. Be kind to all creatures of earth. Yesterday I was reading my friend Christopher's book, Biocentrism, and I'm getting towards the end of it, and I looked out of the corner of my eye and I saw some movement. And what was it? It was a big, giant, daddy long-legged spider crawling up the side of my couch, or crawling down the side of my couch, I should say, and slipping underneath it. Probably to build a web. You know how couches are. You look under the couch about every 6 months and there's like dust balls and cobwebs and Cheerios and parts of chocolate chip cookies and whatever, right? Dog hairs, cat hairs, hairballs, But I saw that spider and I said, "Hey, where are you going? Where are you going?" And he didn't respond, obviously. He just kept right on walking. And I let him go because you know what? He's a living creature. Now, there's some creatures that I know they're living and we're all connected, but there's just some of them that just freak me out. Like, I don't like fleas and I don't like parasitic type creatures. But for the most part, what I say to you is be kind to insects. Don't kill them. Don't step on them. Usher them out of your house. Let them find their way out in nature, okay? Be good to your animals. Love on them. They are stress sponges. They will come to you. They wait for you all day. They wait for your face. They wait for your presence, for your soul, for your light. And they light up when you walk through the door, don't they? Be good to your children. Be kind to your children. I know you have stressful days. You come home and your children want your attention right away. Give it to them, okay? It goes fast. Before you know it, your children will have goatees and they'll be 25 years old, okay? Be kind to your elders. They have knowledge. They have knowledge. Way more knowledge than we can ever imagine. So be kind to your elders. They're the best. Well, anyways, be good to the trees and the plants. Listen, I'm not a tree hugger. I'm just saying we are all connected. I believe that. We are all connected. I've never seen anything crazy. I've never seen a UFO. I've never seen spirit beings or smoke beings or light orbs or anything, but I still believe that we're all connected, and maybe someday, if I'm lucky, I'll be a part of that and I'll get to see it. Once I close my eyes in this world, once I close my eyes and this shell ceases to exist, I will evolve to the next level. You know, one other thing, I'm going to ramble here just for a second. People are so freaked out all the time about reaching their goals and, I got to get somewhere, I got to get to the next level, and I got to get the next job, and I got to win the lottery, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And, the person with the most toys in this world wins. Well, to me, that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit because you're going to live forever. It's just not going to be in this shell. And what if you get to do this all over again if you want to? Over and over and over, as many times as you want. What if? Would that not be cool? I mean, maybe it would not be cool if you had a really rough life here, but maybe you could do it again and do it better. Maybe in the next iteration, you'll get to swim through the living space of the universe. The air we breathe is living. It's a living entity, I believe. So breathe it in. Breathe it in through the nose, out through the nose. When you get stressed out, breathe through it. We're all connected. Be kind to your friends. Be kind to just strangers on the street. Be kind in social media. I can't tell you how many times I get comments on my channel about just snide remarks or rude, people swearing and things of that sort. There's no need to be that way. I mean, you can get your point across. You can say, "Artsy dude, you're a doofus. I don't like you. I hate your channel. I'll never watch it again." Okay? But you don't have to swear at me and cuss at me and treat me as if I'm not human. I mean, think about it. How we respond to each other if we're being watched. I mean, maybe that's why we've never had contact yet. Because they see how one man's humanity towards another man for just being creative is addressed in the public forum. okay? So we've got to work on that. We've got to be better stewards of this world. We've got to be better people. We've got to be better humans to one another. You know, you can agree to disagree. You don't always have to be right. You can just say, okay, all right. You know, you can be cool about it. You don't have to be an a-hole, okay? So let's be good to one another out there. Be good to your elders. Respect your parents, you know, okay? Everybody is connected, all right? So I'm going to sign off for now. Love you guys. And remember, this is the Artsy Dude channel, and creativity is more important than knowledge, all right? All right, love you guys. Much peace. Bye-bye.